Shalom, my brothers and sisters. Coming back before you to give you a word or a mystery dealing with the Thanksgiving offering, and this is part 3. Now, what you see before you is a picture with these following words that I would like for you to meditate on. And the picture says this: Thanksgiving offering. Be part of what YAH is doing. Think about this, my brothers and sisters. What does it mean for us to be a part of what God is doing? And the God that I'm talking about, He is the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He is known as the Most High. He is Yahuwah. So those who have joined His covenant, which is the marriage that was established by His Son and sealed in His blood, how do we become a part in what He's doing? And this does pertains to the Thanksgiving offering, because what we learned from the other videos, what we learn is that our Father do have a Thanksgiving offering that we partake of or that we present unto Him. However, or unfortunately, the heathens has been doing it incorrectly. Again, these things are written or given unto us as instructions in His living word that today the people call the King James 1611 Bible. So it's there for us to know when do we do Thanksgiving and what do we present unto Him as a Thanksgiving offering. Okay, so take this time to pause your screen because I really want you to meditate on how do we be a part of what Yah is doing. Okay, now the title of this lesson or this mystery for today is Thanksgiving offering in the Solemn Feasts of Yah. Thanksgiving offering in the Solemn Feasts of Yah. This is part 3. Now, today in this video, we're going to be still laying the foundation work before I can take you in the future. Oh, yes, there's a future prophecy about this. Okay. So, which brings me to this. I need to show you a picture. I'm not going to read the scripture itself, but that would be in part 4, dealing with the future, dealing with the kingdom of heaven. Okay. And here's the picture that I'm talking about. It deals with verse 15 and 17. Now, I'm not going to read the verses because we're going to talk about that in part 4. But this is one thing I like about the King James 1611 Bibles. There are side notes to confirm what these words are saying unto us that's been translated in the English tongue. Okay. So when you look at this word peace offering, you see where my cursor at peace offering, there's a bar there. And that bar is to let us know that's a side note to give us what is the peace offering or what does it represent. And it means that it is a thanks offering. Okay. A thanks offering. Also, you will see that same word being written in verse 17 right here. You see it right there. And it too means what? Thanks offering. Now, this is a future prophecy, but however, we'll talk about that in part 4. Okay. Just for a quick review, so in part 1 and part 2, as you see from watching those videos, we have learned that our Father does have a Thanksgiving, but it's not done in the way of the heathens, nor is it either kept on the heathen day, which is showing us what Daniel prophesies unto us. Daniel said he would change what? Our father's laws and his times. And we have seen how the whole world has followed the ways of the fourth beast kingdom. So for a quick review of the videos that's before this one, we learned that the Thanksgiving or thanks offering, okay, is showing our Father that, or it's expression. Let me excuse me, y'all. My words. Trying to get my words in order. We learned that the Thanksgiving offering means that is to show or to give thanks to our Father for the blessings He has bestowed upon us. Okay? The things that have been manifest unto us. And what I'm talking about, when you go back to the beginning and you learn what was the role or what was the office of Adam, he was what to sow the earth. So we learn that we are giving thanks unto our Father for blessing us with a good harvest so we can make it through winter, which is very important. It's about what? Sustaining life. He's giving you life to live, to make it through a harsh period of time of his 4 seasons. Okay? So Thanksgiving means giving thanks. And when we give thanks unto our Father or show him our appreciation, it brings forth a friendship, a alliance, or a covenant. Do y'all see where I'm going with this? It's still going back to that foundation, Even what his status with our forefather Adam is bring us back into a covenant. And what is a covenant? A covenant is what? A marriage. And marriage means to be what? To be joined. Okay? To be joined with him. Again, it's another mystery that many do not understand. But when you understand who Adam is and what Adam was made up of and why he's called the Son of God, then you understand what covenant is. Okay? Do you understand the future prophecy that's given by the prophet Hosea in chapter 2 that the day will come, Yashrael, the Israelite or the children of Israel shall call him Ishai, my husband, because we're going to be joined to him. We're going to be connected, bond. And because we are married unto him or joined unto him, we are entitled to certain benefits. That's what happens when you establish a friendship with him and an alliance with him, because what we are loyal unto him, we have allegiance unto him. So he rewards us for that. Okay. Another thing that we learn with the Thanksgiving, that the Thanksgiving offering comes under the peace offerings. And we learned that the peace offering can also be a vow or a free will offering, also known as a voluntary offering. So we see under here there are 3 types of offerings that makes up the peace offerings. You have to go back in Torah and study the difference between these 3 types of offerings that are called peace offerings unto our Father in heaven. We also learned that what is the peace offering, and we learned that it has to deal with an animal, okay? And that animal can come from a herd or a flock, okay? And it can be male or female. And a herd can be like an oxen or a bullock, okay? A flock can be a lamb, which is a sheep or goat. Again, when you watch the other videos, you understand why, because we learned that when you're dealing with a sacrifice, there has to be the shedding of blood. Again, it goes back to what? Covenant. What's going to seal you in that covenant? And just a reminder, it all relates to what the Messiah did for us. The hand that beheld and nailed. When you look at the Hebrew letters of our Father and of the Son, the hand, behold, the hand that behold the nail, because he will what? Shed his blood for us, to what? Bond us in the renewed marriage that he made for us. Again, we have to understand why it's so important that blood has to be shed. And notice that it comes from a herd or a flock, which is an animal. Okay. So now that we got that part out of the way, today we're going to go to Leviticus chapter 3. We are going to read most of this chapter, okay? And I need to look at my notes so you'll have on hand. So we are going to go to Leviticus chapter 23 and Deuteronomy chapter 16 and Numbers chapter 29. Now, what we learn about Thanksgiving, according to the heathens, they celebrated to what? To show their thanks for a good harvest, right? But we also learned that our Father too have his feasts. There are 3 solemn feasts that deals with the celebration from what you reap from your harvest. Okay, so we're gonna go to the chapter Leviticus. We're gonna go to Leviticus chapter 23. Now, I'm gonna read most of this chapter, but bear with me. You're gonna see why, and we're gonna see how the Thanksgiving play a part in the Most High 3 solemn feasts. Now, those who are new, who do not understand what I'm talking about, the 3 solemn feasts deals with what we call Passover, which ties into your Feast of Unleavened Bread. There is an 8-day feast on that. Then we have Shavuot, which is Pentecost. That's a 1-day feast. And then we have the Feast of Tabernacles, and that is also an 8-day feast. Okay. So I'm going to read the chapter summary unto you from the 1611 version. For the chapter summary says this: the feasts of Yahuwah. So already this chapter is giving you what are the feasts of Yahuwah. And out of these feasts is when you do more research and more study, when you come in the whole volume book, you're going to learn the 3 solemn feasts. Again, those 3 solemn feasts deal with harvest. Okay. So this chapter will give you all the feasts of Yahuwah, or going to list the feast of Yahuwah unto you. So it lists the Sabbath is a feast unto him. The Passover is a feast. The sheaf of first fruits, that's the sheaf of the first fruits of the barley harvest. Okay. The Feast of Pentecost. Then he gives instruction about gleanings to be left for the poor. Then we have the Feast of Trumpets, the Day of Atonement, and the Feast of Tabernacles. Okay, and I think I added a word. I think I may say the Feast of the Sheaf of the First Fruits. If I did, forgive me. But this will give you an idea what are the feasts of our Father in heaven. Okay, so I am going to read verse 1 and 2. For it says, and Yahuwah spake unto Moshe, saying, speak unto the children of Yashael, and say unto them concerning the feasts of Yahuwah, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations, even these are my feasts. Something very important to look at here. So some key words again are feasts. Holy convocation means that day is holy unto our Father. It's different from the ordinary days. Um, it also means a time where we gather ourselves together as an assembly. We come together to worship Him on this day. And again, this day is set apart. That's what holy means, to be set apart. It is different from any other day in the year. Okay, very important. And then another key word we see are feasts. So he's telling us that what is written below are his feasts. Okay, so where we're going to start at, I do recommend that you read this whole chapter. Okay, but we're going to pick up at verse 15 because I want you to see how does the peace offering has its place in the feasts of Yahuwah. I'm going to say this again. How does the peace offering have its place in the feasts of Yahuwah? Okay, and also remember what a peace offering is. Remember, it can be, let's go back to the top. It can be a Thanksgiving offering or an offering of thanksgiving. I need to put that down. Offering of thanks or thanks offering. Or it can be a vow or a voluntary known as a free will offering. Okay. Verse 15 of Leviticus chapter 23. And ye shall count unto you from the morrow after the Sabbath, from the day that ye brought the sheaf of the way offering, even 7 Sabbaths shall be completed. So just to give you some other information, because we jump further down. The sheaf of the way offering in this particular verse is talking about the first fruits of the barley harvest. Okay. And that is done on the on Aviv 16th. And the work of Josephus will confirm this, as well as the book of Joshua, because it aligns on the same day when the manna ceased. Okay, Aviv 16, right? And also with the prophecy of the Messiah, when he would be resurrected. Okay, it aligned up with the prophecy of Hosea, the prophet Hosea. So read that writings as well. Okay, so notice here in verse 15, the Father is giving us instructions that we would count from the morrow after the Sabbath, from the day that ye brought the sheaf of the way offering. So the day they brought the sheaf of the way offering is Aviv 16. Aviv 16. Okay. The Sabbath in this verse is dealing with Aviv 15. Remember that it's the first day in the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Okay. I know I said an 8-day feast, but I was including Passover. Passover is Aviv 14th. That's the same day when the Messiah was crucified. Then Aviv 15th is the first day or the first holy convocation day. And it's also a Sabbath day, a day of rest unto Yah. Okay. So that is what that verse is talking about. Okay. Take this time now to pause your screen, and Father is telling me to tell you to read Exodus chapter 12. Now, for the mystery on the 3 days, because I know somebody's going to bring this up, remember there was a miraculous miracle taking place on the Aviv 14th. I'm just going to give you this hint. You had a day to happen within a day. And the Gentile says this, that it was so dark that the stars came out. When you understand that mystery, and you understand that he's not talking about time as 24 hours, he's talking about the phases of the day. And a great example of that is look at when Moses went into Mount Sinai. He didn't go up to Mount Sinai to after the morning activities, but yet that day was counted as day one. So it's dealing with the phases of the day. I'm going to give you that hint. Go back and read the gospel and you will see what I'm talking about. Again, it lines up with the book of Joshua when the manna ceased. It aligns up with the sheaf wave offering, representing him being the first fruits of the resurrection. Okay. And it aligns up with the prophet Hosea prophecy in regard to him. Okay. Verse 16. Even unto the morrow after the seventh Sabbath shall ye number 50 days, and ye shall offer a new meat offering unto Yahuwah. So this new meat offering that we offer to him after we count 7 Sabbath, then follow after that we are to count 50 days. Okay? So once we do that, we bring the Father a new meat offering, which is the bread made with leaven. Read Leviticus chapter 2 to get all the details of what goes into that. Again, remember these physical things are representing spiritual things. This is dealing with the wheat harvest. The wheat harvest. Okay? And it does relate to us now in that particular harvest. Verse 17. Ye shall bring out of your habitations 2 wave loaves of 2 tenths deal. They shall be of fine flour. They shall be baken with leaven. They are the first fruits unto Yahuwah. Notice how the Father always wants the first to be presented unto him. Again, when you understand that, then you understand how it pertains to the bride of the Messiah, to the 144, and to the nation of Israel, dealing with those biblical prophecies. Okay? And the Messiah set the first example. He was the first of the resurrection. Then proceeding after him was the saints who came out of hell or Sheol, for they was detained in Abraham's bosom. To understand more about that, read the work of Josephus. He give more inner details. But the Messiah do touch on that as well. Okay? So now in this next harvest to come, which is the wheat harvest, there is an elect or a group of people who will come in first because they already got it. Okay? Again, read those prophecies that pertain to the bride of the Messiah, to the 144,000, and to the nation of Israel. And then in the last harvest to come, we deal with your Feast of Tabernacles. That reminds me of Isaiah 11. Remember, the Father said he would send his hand again a second time to gather his people. Okay? Let's go with verse 18. And ye shall offer with the bread 7 lambs without blemish of the first year, and one young bullock, and 2 rams. They shall be for a burnt offering unto Yahuwah, with their meat offering and their drink offerings, even an offering made by fire of sweet savor unto Yahuwah. Verse 19. Then ye shall sacrifice 1 kid of the goats for a sin offering, and 2 lambs of the first year for a sacrifice of peace offerings. This is the verse you want to highlight. Highlight that, because he's giving you an example what my ancestors offered unto him as a peace offering. So this is dealing with what? What is the feast that we're dealing in with? We're dealing with what? Shavuot, Pentecost. So when that day came, they was to what? Sacrifice 1 kid goat for sin offering, right? But then in addition to that, they are to what? Sacrifice 2 lambs of the first year as a peace offering. It's very important that you meditate on this, because now the Living Word is given as an example that the Thanksgiving offering, which is the peace offering, is offered in his feast days too. Very important. Let us keep reading. Verse 20. And the priest shall wave them with the bread of the first fruits for a wave offering before Yahuwah with the 2 lambs. They shall be holy to Yahuwah for the priests. Underline that. So we're seeing that the 2 lambs are going to be what? Holy, and it's going to be what? For the priests of Yah. Okay? And ye shall proclaim on the same self day that it may be an holy convocation unto you. Ye shall do no servile work therein. It shall be a statute forever in all your dwellings throughout your generations. So wherever we at throughout the world, the Father is expecting us to keep a memorial of this. Now remember, we're in the new covenant, so there are some slight changes, but he is telling you you are still to keep a memorial of this, because those who have been well studied of the prophets writing, we know this is what? Yet to come. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I know. The Roman church didn't teach you that. But I'm telling you, you need to study this, because then you're gonna see how it goes in hand with the future prophecies. Okay? In other words, you're gonna see what we're gonna do in the kingdom of heaven to come. That's going to take place in the new heaven and new earth. So the living word do tell you what you're going to do in the kingdom to come. Okay? Verse 22. And when ye reap the harvest of your land, thou shalt not make clean riddance of the corners of the field when thou reapest. Neither shalt thou gather any gleaning of thy harvest. Thou shalt lead them unto the poor and to the strangers. I am Yahuwah, your Elohim. I just love how the Father is. The Father had his own welfare system, and notice that he always is looking out for the poor and for the stranger. Remember what Malachi said about the stranger. Do not turn the stranger from his right. Do you hear me, Israelites? hmm And we need to learn how to show each other love when we see our fellow brother or sister who is poor, for those who have. Okay? Again, allow the Spirit of Yah to give you wisdom, knowledge, understanding on how we should take care of the poor and how we should help the poor. Okay? But before we keep reading down, the Father is telling me to take you to the precept in Deuteronomy chapter 16. I'm going to open up a new tab here so you can see how it relates to Shavuot. Okay? And another word for Shavuot, in translate in the English tongue, we say what? Feast of Weeks, right? Feast of Weeks. So we're going to the 16:11. We're going to Deuteronomy chapter 16. I am going to read the chapter summary unto you. For Deuteronomy chapter 16 summary says this: the feast of the Passover. Do y'all see that? How he put the word feast in there? Okay. The feast of the Passover, of weeks, of tabernacles, every male must offer as he is able at these three feasts of judges and justice. Groves and images are forbidden. That's a very good chapter to read, but we're going to scroll down. Okay. We're going to start at verse 9. Okay. And we're going to read down to verse, let me see. I'm going to read down verse 11. But the key verse here is verse 10. Okay. Verse 9, 7 weeks shalt thou number unto thee. So we know what complete Sabbath is 7 weeks. Okay. 7 weeks shall we number unto him. Begin to number the 7 weeks from such time as thou beginnest to put the sickle to the corn. Okay. And we know what the corn was dealing with when we look at Leviticus chapter 23. And that is dealing with the barley harvest. Okay, when we put the sickle to the barley, and we know that the day that we presented the sheaf wave offering, because that's what that means, because you have to cut the barley to form the sheaf to present to what? To the priest, and the priest will present it to the Father. It happened on the week 16. Okay. So from that time, we are to count what? 7 complete Sabbaths. Another way of saying this, 7 weeks. Okay. And then verse 10 say, and thou shalt keep the feast of weeks unto Yahuwah, thou Elohim, with a tribute of a freewill offering of thy hand, which thou shalt give unto Yahuwah, thy Elohim, according as Yahuwah thou El has blessed thee. Let me read that again in slow. And thou shalt keep the feast of weeks unto Yahuwah thy El, with a tribute of a free will offering of thy hand. Do y'all see that? Free will offering of thy hand. So what did we learn about the free will offering? We learned that the free will offering also fall under what? Peace offering. Peace offering. So free will offering is what? A voluntary offering. Let's keep going. So we are to offer or tribute a freewill offering from our own hand, which thou shalt give unto Yahuwah thy Elohim, according as Yahuwah thy Elohim has blessed thee. So according to how the Father blessed you will determine on how much you will give back unto him of your own free will. And this is done at the Feast of Weeks. Okay. Verse 11. And thou shalt rejoice before Yahuwah thy Elohim, thou and thy son and thy daughter, and thy manservant and thy maidservant, and the Levite that is within thy gates. Do you see how the Father get everybody involved? But let us keep reading. And the stranger, and the fatherless, and the widow that are among you, in the place which Yahuwah the Elohim has chosen to place his name there. And I got to read verse 12. And thou shalt remember thou wast a bondman in Egypt, and thou shalt observe and do it. Now, I definitely, I'm sorry, and thou shalt observe and do these statutes. Okay. The reason why I read verse 12, because again, I know there's been a lot of crazy doctrines going out here against the strangers, against the Gentiles. But the Father is reminding you, Israelite, remember when thou was a bondman in Egypt in the house of bondage. In other words, you know how you did not want to be treated in that manner. So why would you do it to another? Okay. I like how the Father mentioned that. Also, I want to point out again in verse 11, notice how the Father wants everyone involved. Okay. He wants you, your son, your daughter, your manservant, your maidservant, the Levite who lives within your gates, the stranger, the fatherless, the widow, that what? That are dwelling amongst you. He wants them to come in the place where he has chosen where his name is. And we know that was Jerusalem. It first was in Shalom, then it moved to Jerusalem. Okay? We serve an awesome God. I mean, he's just amazing. As you see, he has no respect of persons. Okay. So going back to verse 10, the key word here that we are to bring a tribute of a free will offering from our own hands. So this offering is offered willingly during the time of Shavuot. Okay. Now let's go back to Leviticus chapter 23. So you probably want to do a study with your precepts, okay? And just reflect on what we offer unto the Father on the day of Shavuot, along with the peace offerings. And the peace offerings I'm talking about in this particular verse is dealing with 2 lambs of the first year. This is a blood sacrifice. Okay? Now we're going to pick up at verse 23. And Yahuwah spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, In the 7th month, in the first day of the month, shall ye have a Sabbath, a memorial of blowing of trumpets, and holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein, but ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto Yahuwah. Okay? Remember, holy convocation is the day where we assemble ourselves, and it is a Sabbath. It is a day of rest for us. Because this day is holy unto our Father. It's set apart. Verse 26. And Yahuwah spake unto Moshe, saying, Also on the 10th day of the 7th month, there shall be a day of atonement. It shall be an holy convocation unto you, and ye shall afflict your souls, and offer an offering made by fire unto Yahuwah. And ye shall do no work in that same day, for it is a day of atonement, to make an atonement for you before Yahuwah your God. For whatsoever soul it be that shall not be afflicted in that same day, he shall be cut off from among his people. And whatsoever soul it be that doeth any work in that same day, the same soul will I destroy from among his people. Ye shall do no manner of work. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations in all your dwellings. It shall be unto you a Sabbath of rest. A rest, a rest. Do y'all hear that? And ye shall afflict your souls in the 9th day of the month at even. From even to even shall ye celebrate your Sabbath. So when you read this verse here, when it said from even unto evening, it's starting from the going down the sun. And you know, the going down the sun is between the two evens, right? So it's between the ninth day to the 10th day. So starting from that point, it's going to begin at that and end at the going down the sun on the 10th day. So that's how we keep atonement. We start from sundown, end it at sundown. Okay? And Yahuwah spake unto Moshe, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, The 15th day of the 7th month shall be the feast of tabernacles for 7 days unto Yahuwah. On the first day shall be a holy convocation day. Ye shall do no servile work. That is Ethanim, the 15th day, a day of rest. Verse 36. 7 days ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto Yahuwah. On the 8th day shall be an holy convocation unto you. And ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto Yahuwah. It is a solemn assembly, and ye shall do no servile work. So as you see, on the last day of this 8-day feast, it is a day of rest, for it is a holy convocation. It is a day where we assemble ourselves together in this last feast for the year. That is the third feast of harvest. Okay, verse 37. Listen up, because now we're getting back to what our topic is. Okay. These are the feasts of Yahuwah, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations. To offer an offering made by fire unto Yahuwah, a burnt offering and a meat offering, a sacrifice and drink offerings, everything upon his day. Beside the Sabbaths of Yahuwah, and beside your gifts, and beside all your vows, and beside all your free will offerings which ye give unto Yahuwah. You want to highlight that because as we this is where I read this whole thing going down, because when you read the living word, you will see that it takes place more like a conversation. Go from this topic to that topic, and sometimes you come back to the topic you was talking about. So as we see here, these two verses are telling us a whole lot. It is already identifying to us that what we read above is the feast of Yahuwah, and on these feasts that we are to have what holy convocation. It is a day of rest. It's a day holy unto our Father in heaven. And on these days that we have this, we are to offer certain offerings unto him, such as this offering is made by fire, which is the burnt offering. Then we have a meat offering, a sacrifice, okay, and drink offerings. Everything that he instructs us to offer to him is offered upon on this day. And notice what else is offered besides these offerings. Well, in other words, how you read this, and I do need to, was it this one? No, it was something else I'm thinking about. Sorry, y'all. Thinking ahead. But look at the next sentence. In addition to these offerings are to be beside the Sabbaths of Yah, and besides our gifts, and beside our vows, and besides all free will offerings that we give unto the Father. And we already discussed what a peace offering is. It can be a vow, it can be a free will offering. Now this word gifts in the Hebrew, you probably want to look that up to see what Hebrew word that relates to. Okay, that's something you can do in your spare time. But what I want to point out to you, Father is telling us something. Now when we read the precept of Deuteronomy 16, notice that he defines what is a voluntary offering or what is a free will offering to him. And according to how he bless you will determine what you would give unto him. That you give of your own free will. In other words, he don't have to tell you what to give. You give it freely. Okay? So highlight that, because now we're going to go to Numbers chapter 29, because you're going to see this again. So we're going to pause there, but we all can come back to it. Okay. We're going to pause there and let us go to Numbers 29. And there's one particular verse we're going to read. I'm going to read the whole chapter summary to you, but I'm not going to read the whole chapter. For Numbers 29 say, the offering at the Feast of Trumpets, at the day of afflicting their souls, and on the 8 days of the Feast of Tabernacles. Oh, I highly recommend that you read not only Numbers 29, but Numbers 28 as well. But we'll go to one verse. And that verse is 39. Okay. These things ye shall do unto Yahuwah in your set feasts. So he had given you instruction on all the things you would do in his set feasts. Remember Numbers 28. You're going to see why I tell you to read it, because both of these chapters go hand in hand. Numbers 28 and Numbers 29. So these things ye shall do unto Yahuwah in your set feasts. So he's already gave you instructions what you're going to do in your set feasts. Not only in that, what you will offer along with what besides your vows and your free will offerings, for your burnt offerings, and for your meat offerings, and for your drink offerings, and for your what? Your peace offerings. Do y'all see that? Now, the side note for this verse on 39, we have here a word that can be interchanged. So when you, for those who have access to the 1611, you will see that side note for the word offer can replace the word do. So let's read it like that. For it says, these things ye shall what? Offer unto Yahuwah in your set feasts, besides your vows and your freewill offerings, for your burnt offerings, and for your meat offerings, and for your drink offerings, and for your peace offerings. So what this whole sentence is saying to us, when you read these instructions that's above, it's telling you what you're going to do on these days of his feast, and how you're going to offer these offerings, and what you're going to offer as an offering. So he giving you instruction on all of that. Again, this verse is confirming what I'm talking about with the Thanksgiving offering, which is the peace offering that we see here. How it does, or how it will be offered along, how it will be offered on your feast days too. Now, I am curious, because I remember I told you for homework, look up the word gift. I'm curious to see if it relates to the peace offering. So if you don't mind, I would like to take a look at that. Okay. But before we go there, let me read the last sentence. And Moshe told the children of Israel according to all that Yahuwah commanded Moses. So wherever the Father told Moses, Moses told them, and you can go back and see. He even wrote it in the book. That first time he went up to the mountain, he came back down and wrote everything in the book, and he told Israel what the Father told him, and they told Moshe, we would do it, we would keep it. So they entered into the covenant with the Father and sealed it with blood. Then Moses went back up to the mountain after the morning activities for 40 days and 40 nights. Go back and read it. You'll see it. Okay. But that's another verse I want you to highlight and put as a precept or as a side note dealing with um Leviticus chapter 23 when we look at verse 37 and 38. So I ain't gonna lie, I'm curious, y'all. I gotta look up gifts because I'm wondering if it relates to the peace offering. But let's see. So we're gonna go to BlueLetterBible.org. We're gonna pull up and see what that Hebrew word is for gifts. What is that? Okay, so I know the reference number is different, but let's click on it and be for sure. The reference number is H4979. So based on the strong definition, the gift, according to that Hebrew word, means a sacrificial offering. Okay, a gift. So it's a sacrificial offering that we offer. So in a way, peace offering can fall under as a gift because remember, it's to form an alliance, a covenant, or a friendship, a gift for what of thanks. Okay. I'm looking at now. I'm looking at the Brown hyphen Driver hyphen Briggs lexicon, and I'm gonna see if there's any scriptures. I do see a common chapter with it. Let's see if anything else. So in verse Deuteronomy 16:17, it made a note here that each man according to the gift of his hand. So according to how the Father can bless you will determine if you give the Father a gift, from that blessing. So I can see how it still can relate to the peace offering, maybe going under the free will offering, but either way it can be a offering of thanks. Okay, so I can see that. So basically, that word gift in Leviticus chapter 23 can stand for the other offers that we offer, such as the peace offering. And proof for that can be found in Numbers chapter 29. Okay, Numbers chapter 29. Let me see, can I go to it? So when we look at that, so when you compare the two verses from Leviticus chapter 23 to Numbers 29, verse, I think it was 38, you could see instead of gifts, we see peace offerings right here. So we don't see the word gifts. Instead, we see peace offerings. We do see the words like vows and free will offerings, burnt offerings, meat offerings, drink offerings, and peace offerings. Okay. And in Leviticus 23, that talks about the same feast. Instead of peace offerings, we see gifts. Even though it's a different Hebrew word, but we can see how these two words can relate to each other. Okay? All right. Let us continue to read. Then we're going to start at verse 39. Also in the 15th day of the 7th month, when ye have gathered in the fruit of the land, ye shall keep a feast unto Yahuwah 7 days. On the first day shall be a Sabbath, and on the 8th day shall be a Sabbath. Now, as I'm reading this, what's sticking out to me, for you can study about what is right by what time. Notice that it's dealing with the gathering of the fruit of the land. Okay, so you probably want to see what is that fruit of the land they are gathering. Okay, doing that particular harvest. Because we know the first one is what Feast of Unleavened Bread, that deals with the barley harvest. The second one deal with the wheat harvest. So what would this third harvest deal with what is saying the fruit of the land? Okay. All right. Verse 40. And ye shall take on you the first day the barrels of goody trees, branches of palm trees, and the barrels of thick trees, and willows of the brook, and ye shall rejoice before Yahuwah your Elohim 7 days. And ye shall keep it a feast unto Yahuwah 7 days in the year. It shall be a statute forever in your generation. Ye shall celebrate it in the 7th month. Ye shall dwell in booths 7 days. All that are Israelites born shall dwell in booths. That your generation may know that I made the children of Israel to dwell in booths when I brought them out of the land of Egypt. And I am Yahuwah your God. And I just want to say here, notice that everything the Father have us to do is for a reason. It is to remind us what he did for us. Because the same will be done again for those who understand the future prophecies that pertain to the nation of Israel. They will dwell in booths again. It's coming. Because why? He's going to deliver us out of the house of bondage. Not Egypt now, but the future prophecy says that we would know him as the God that delivered his people out of the land of the north, no longer as the God who delivered his people out of the land of Egypt. Let us keep reading. And Moshe declared unto the children of Israel the feasts of the Lord. So when you read this chapter along with the other chapters, such as number 28 and 29 and Deuteronomy 16, as many other verses, you will begin to learn what are the feasts of the Lord. But through your learning, you will learn there are 3 solemn feasts that pertains with celebrating the harvest, that pertains with um, thanking him for the blessing. So as we see in this chapter of Leviticus chapter 23, as well as Deuteronomy 16, and I'm going to throw it in there, Numbers 29, we see that the Thanksgiving offering is offered. Okay, we see that. And we already know from our past study that it is the peace offerings. And we can see these words being interchanged out. So we can see Thanksgiving offerings, we can see the vow offerings, and we can see the free will offerings. And all of them have different criteria, different standards. You have to go back and study Torah to understand what is different with those offerings that fall under peace offerings. Okay, so take this time now to reflect back on the scriptures I share with you today, because now on the next part, it's going to show us what we're going to do in the kingdom to come and why it's so important for us that we learn what is the purpose of the Thanksgiving offering. Do you hear me? I'm going to say this again. Think about what our Father wants us to grasp here. Why is it so important for us to learn what is the Thanksgiving offering in the kingdom to come? In other words, what does it do for us? All right. Hope you enjoyed this lesson. Continue, my brothers and sisters, to preach that the kingdom of heaven is at hand, for it's truly at hand. Make sure the people receive salvation as written in Romans chapter 10, and baptize the people in the name of Yahusha HaMashiach. For the Lamb set the example of the water baptism and the Holy Spirit baptism, and his disciples who became apostles continued them both. Now, if you have no one to baptize you, guess what? The Father got you covered. For the water is the second witness in the earth, as written in 1 John chapter 5. And his heavens and his earth is a witness unto us. So they can report back unto our Father in heaven, or those who had entered into the new covenant, which is the renewed marriage that the Messiah made for us. And the same is with the Holy Spirit baptism. He has made that simple for us, easy. For those who want the Holy Spirit baptism, all you have to do is ask our Father in the name of Yahusha HaMashiach, and he shall give it unto you, but it's according to your heart, your faith, and your works. Shalom.